Welcome to Growing Up Boomer. I'm your host, Padre, and this podcast is dedicated to the life and times of the baby boomer generation. The show is loosely scripted, and sometimes we'll go down rabbit holes, and where it leads us to, one will never know. This podcast can be informative, funny, and sometimes irreverent. But most of all, we hope you find it entertaining. Hey, Professor, how's it going, my man?
I'm good, Padre. I am doing really well. How about you?
Oh, I cannot complain, man. You know?
Good.
You know,
go ahead and complain. Someone will listen. Not me.
Hey, you know what? All right.
Okay.
We got our first download from Hungary, the country.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we're moving along.
Oh, yeah.
Light speed.
No,
that's cool.
Not light speed, but
really
hey,
cool.
you know what? You know, we're doing okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Congratulations to us. That's good stuff.
The only thing I remember on Hungary was that, of course, I think, I have to look this up, I believe Hungary is the oldest established nation in Europe.
Wait a minute. Hungary was the oldest established nation? Country.
Mm-hmm.
You think, oh, you might be right.
Remember,
thinking,
Attila the Hun
was
sacked Rome?
Huh?
Attila the Hun sacked Rome?
Yeah, maybe so. I have to go back and check it out.
Yeah,
okay,
I have to check it out. But I there's older countries. There were certainly a lot established in the Middle East, in Africa, and all of that. But in Europe, I believe.
I don't know, but I mean, I believe you, but I got to go check that out.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Because don't forget, Greece really wasn't a country, but just separate city-states. The Spartans, the Athenians, Macedonians, and so forth and so on. But yeah,
all those folks.
Right, I'm thinking of that. But yeah, so yeah, it was only one download, but I'll take it.
It absolutely would take everyone we get.
Yeah, we're not proud. We'll take whatever we can get, man.
Okay, you get it.
Oh, by the way, I got to tell you before we get into our podcast, because our podcast is about values that us boomers had that mean absolutely nothing to the young people today. When I say young people, I'm talking about Zoomers or Gen Zers.
Zoomers.
Yeah.
Gen Z.
Yeah. But I found this article on LinkedIn, and the Zoomers have a thing called quiet quitting. Quiet quitting.
Here, I guess I know what that is. Mm-hmm. Okay, they probably go into their boss's office, okay, and they put their thumb on their nose and they wiggle their fingers and turn and walk out the door.
No.
That's quiet quitting, right?
No.
They do. Well, you'll have to enlighten me.
They do the least amount of work as possible, so they can look for another job.
Okay. So they have the time to go look?
Correct.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's just like all of a sudden you're going, where's so-and-so? And they don't come in and quit. They just don't show up.
Okay.
All
right. Well, that's an interesting thing to do. I guess they just don't want to. I wonder what that's about. They just don't want to face the confrontation or be in that position.
No.
Out here.
Okay. I'm going to read you this article because reason why they're quiet quitting?
Tell me.
Is because rejecting outdated leadership. That's why.
Oh, well, I can't blame them. Oh, yeah, it's outdated leadership, sure.
Yeah. For number one, real problem, leadership hasn't caught up. So in other words, this is what Gen Zers believe in, okay? They just don't want a job. They want a workplace that prioritizes psychological safety, transparency, and fairness.
Yeah, they do.
Yes, they do.
Yep, that I believe.
All right. The other thing is, they're rejecting leadership is because they want to focus on vision of motivation. It sounds great, often lacks the psychological safety net Gen Zers crave. Servant leadership is what they're after.
Servant leadership. Well, it's interesting when you say that because what's the age? What's the that cohort? What's the age range?
The age range for them is 1995 to 2009. Okay,
so interesting because the company that I was working for, they actually, and there was a fair amount of Zers in there probably because it was a sales type organization. It was a mortgage industry, and a lot of young folks, and there's a lot of Zers probably in there. And that company was a servant leadership type company. It really was. So, and a lot of people try to stick around there. So maybe something to it. Anyway.
Are you ready for
that's
the next
all I
one?
can say. Yeah.
They need better leadership model consists of kindness, fairness, and structure.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
I'm going like, you know what? This is what they want. All right. And I used to go to these seminars. All right. And they said, you need to start managing from the middle.
I've heard the term.
And I'm going like, I leaned over to the guy that was with me and said, yeah, tell that to the military.
Yeah, not organization.
Yeah. I'm going like, come on, really?
Yeah.
You know what the funny thing is about when you read the entire article?
What?
It does not mention what the company should expect from Gen Zers, from Zoomers.
Oh,
in other words,
there are no expectations.
Yeah. What should the company's expectations be? If we give you all of this, yeah,
it'd be interesting to see the Zers' response to that question.
Well, you know what? It'll be interesting when they start owning the companies. Because you know what? What ends up happening is when they start owning companies, they're worse than baby boomers were.
Yeah, they'll turn around and say, "Ooh, this wasn't working." Yeah.
It's like those who say we need to have freedom of speech, but once you get in power, forget it.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like they want a touchy-feely environment.
Yeah.
And yeah, it'll be touchy and feely, all right. Okay.
Yeah.
Out the door, you're gone.
Well, yeah. Well, but you see that when there's a multitude of jobs out there, all right, they can basically call the shots. But you know what? It's not always going to be that way.
Oh, no. It'll change.
Yeah, it'll change. And it's changing now.
Yeah, it is. We're in the process of change right now.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah. So, yeah, I read that. I'm going like, this would never fly when I was working.
No. In fact, we're going to we're going to get to that in the podcast, some of that stuff
that
we grew up with. We kind of contrast directly with what that article just said.
Yeah. Funny thing. Yeah, like when Kathy had our first baby. I said, I need to take some time off. Oh, you got some vacation time. Take that.
Yep.
There was no, take that. Yeah,
Take that.
We'll give you,
right.
You know what? You can have the weekend off, but we'll need you back on Monday.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah, that was the attitude back
then.
Yeah. Yeah. Expectations back then were totally different than now.
Oh, absolutely. In other words, you're getting a paycheck.
Yeah.
Be
happy you're getting a paycheck.
All right. I'll start off with the first one, okay?
You go.
All right. The first one is, and we're talking about that, having loyalty to one employer.
And there you go. Okay. That's a stark contrast to the Zers. Yeah, I remember. I mean, I know friends of mine that have been the same company for years. Started out in the mailroom. In fact, a friend of mine, PG&E, he started out in the mailroom and he ended up as one of the vice presidents.
Wow.
Okay, we're talking like a 30, 35, well, at least a 30-year career.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
As far as that's concerned. And I know of others that stuck around for a long time. And
I wanted to do that, except every company I worked for went out of business. I started moving up and then they go out of business.
Yeah. No, that was the thing. My career path, I did not do that. I mean, I was in multiple different jobs, but not that many when you think about it. But,
but you also were self-employed. Not self-employed.
Well,
you owned a business.
That's the different thing. So, I mean, I've essentially been self-employed since 1978.
Yeah.
So it's a bit different there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think there's some statistics. I think, wasn't there a study, I guess a place called Resume Lab, actually it's about Gen Zers and millennials, that 83% of Gen Z workers see themselves as job hoppers, with just a third of the 1,100 people surveyed saying they intend to stay in their current role for more than 2 years. Now that's a real long time.
Yeah.
So, I guess some of the main reasons that Zers and millennials consider switching jobs haven't changed, with higher compensation, improved work-life balance, and opportunities for career growth and flexible work arrangements. all ranking as top priorities. So that kind of goes along with that article that we're talking about. So, yep, if it doesn't fit right with them, they're off to someplace else.
Yeah. The thing that I look at, though, is a lot of times companies are not going to spend the money for training if they know they're only going to have you for 2 years.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you're training them for another company.
Exactly. Yeah. That's part of the stuff. There's a lot of, depending on the industry, obviously there's a lot of competition too.
Yeah.
So,
What
about owning a home?
Oh, that was big for us, wasn't it?
That was, we had to do that. That was the American dream.
Right.
If we wanted to live the American dream, we wanted to get a good job, get a career, get married, have kids, have a home. Okay. Have a dog, have a yard, have a car. Okay. I mean, isn't that what we wanted?
Yeah. At least that's what we were told by the commercials.
We were told
the commercials. All right.
No, I think at least my home life, kind of, that was what I grew up thinking was the norm. So that's what I would anticipate and I would look forward to, and try to think about. So I think things changed a little bit.
When did you own your first home?
79.
I want to say mine was a town home, and I'm going to say 77, maybe 78. Out in Corona, California.
Oh, mine was in San Ramon.
Oh, wow. That's a nice area.
Yeah. We paid, if I recall correctly, it was $83,000. Okay. I wish I had that home now.
You are not kidding. You will not believe what's going on out here in Benicia.
I believe me. I stay tuned in. I know what's going on in Benicia.
It's crazy.
I see new listings and sales and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so, it's crazy.
It amazed me. Some of the condos. Okay. Well, I know we're getting off topic here, but Bayview Villas. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Okay. I mean, they're in what, 300,000s now? They were $60,000-$70,000 for those little places. Anyway,
they were apartments at one time.
I know that, converted apartments, small, whatever. Anyway, sorry, Bayview Villas.
Yeah.
Anyway, owning a home. Yeah. I mean, we in the 80s, we used to buy in our 20s, late 20s maybe, but now it's like 35 to these, according to the Association of Realtors.
Yeah.
Of course, affordability issues are totally different.
That's the big issue.
I mean, it really is. I mean, I guess only 21% of millennials believe that their generation can afford homes, which is a stark decline from recently.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah. And it's really hard. I mean, being, coming from that industry, it's really tough. I mean, of course, now with interest rates up and home prices crazy and income's not keeping up.
Oh yeah.
It's really tough.
Yeah,
so
you're right. You're right.
So I can understand that.
Yeah. How about baby boomers? You know what? Phone calls over texting.
So I don't get that. Okay. I struggle with this all the time, even in the environment that, because I'm working in a lab part-time and working on something just to keep me busy. And I'm dealing with, she's 30. So she's 30 and I think he's a couple of years younger. So whatever generation that is, and they're texting all the time.
Oh yeah.
My son is texting all the time. So yeah, the text. I try to encourage her. I said, she said, I'll email them. Okay. And okay, they're 3 hours apart. Okay. And I'm thinking, I wonder if it just might be quicker and you get more out of a conversation if you pick up the phone. Yeah, maybe I'll do that, but I'm going to try the email first. Okay. So they're just extremely resistant to texting. Okay. And to phone calls.
Yeah.
Because you can get so much more done in a phone call. Okay. Yeah. You got your tone of voice. You can have a conversation. You don't have to delay. Okay. When you text. Okay. And you just, the nuances. So yeah, I don't know. What can I tell you?
Yeah. Well, the other thing is too, see, I do a lot of texting, a lot of emails, and that's not because I want to, it's because of my hearing. Because remember, I've got cochlear implants and it's so much easier to text. And in my business, when I was working, you make sure you email everything so you have a paper trail.
Okay, well, there is that to it. Okay, but again, in having a conversation, okay, you can get so much more done in a shorter amount of time.
Yeah.
Because like with texting, if you text, unless the both people are wherever they are and they're texting and replying and texting and replying and texting and replying. But too often you text and 2 hours later you might get an answer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then you might not be in a position to text them back right then. So it could take a half a day to get an answer to something.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, that's my experience.
Unless you call them and say, I'm going to text you right now. Be ready.
Or I call them and say, you know what, I tried texting. I don't want to wait. So let's talk. Yeah, I know. Okay. What about the working hard versus a work-life balance?
Oh, I've heard that many of the work-life balance. Kind of like making sure you have fun as well as working.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm just wondering what, of course, our definition of hard work and success was giving everything you have to your job.
Right.
Even at the risk of your own well-being.
Mm-hmm.
The company was first. Okay. It doesn't seem to be the same between the job hopping we talked about and just not doing it. But, I guess, I don't know. We just grew up different. Okay, as far as
that's all it is. It's just we had a different outlook on life. I'm not saying our outlook was right. It was just a different outlook. I mean, how many hours did we work?
Hours and hours.
Oh yeah,
50 hours.
Oh yeah. If you remember, I would be setting up stores, and we had a deadline to make. I mean, there would be nothing. I mean, we're coming close to that deadline to work a 48-hour shift straight.
Mm-hmm.
Just to keep on, just to make sure you had that store open at the time it was supposed to be open.
You did what you had to do.
You had to do it. Yeah, absolutely. It's just different. Theirs is probably, they'll probably live longer than us because they've got that balance.
Yes. They'll probably live longer because of all the medical breakthroughs.
It's true.
It's interesting. I guess there was a survey, though. I guess they polled more than 26,000 workers across 35 countries, including the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
And according to it, work-life balance has emerged as a top priority for all age groups, surpassing key factors: pay, job security, company alignment with personal values, and future career aspirations.
Mm-hmm.
And it was extremely evident among Gen Zers.
Oh, yeah.
So, the whole sentiment about careers and jobs and everything has changed. I wonder if the pandemic had a lot to do with this.
Mm-hmm.
Because everyone was starting to work remote.
Yeah.
And then there was shifting. People were moving from cities, where the jobs were,
right?
Okay, to more remote or places that they wanted to live,
sure,
where cost of living was better. So, I mean, I'm not saying there's not reasons why, but it's just different for the way we grew up.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, how about marriage as a life goal? Just marriage in general.
I think things have changed since we grew up.
Oh, yeah.
We were kids.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. The old thing, like I related to earlier of, getting married, having a family and a dog and a car and a picket fence, for those that could and so on. Yeah. Now it's totally different. I mean, they're not getting married or they're just cohabitating. It's different.
Yeah. But what's so funny about that? You just mentioned it. Is like being able to own a car. I mean, they don't get that. That's nothing to them.
Yep, I know that. Oh, that's right. You're right.
The whole point is
owning a car.
You ever watch The Big Bang? I don't know if you watch that program.
Oh yeah, Big Bang. Okay. Absolutely. Yeah.
The Gen Zers or Zoomers are like Sheldon. Why drive when you can get people to drive you around?
Absolutely. Yep.
Why take the expense of an automobile when you can have, Uber or Lyft or whatever?
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, no, I mentioned about the cars, and that's right. It got us right in there. But going back to the marriage part, because there's more on that.
Mm-hmm.
I guess, again, all these surveys and so on.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, they did a study, and 2 in 5 of Gen Z and millennials surveyed stating they believe marriage is an outdated tradition.
Sure.
So I guess you and I are just traditionalists.
Yep.
While the traditional ideas surrounding marriage may be shifting, 83% participants said they'd like to get married at some point, but 85% also reported they don't feel marriage is needed to have a fulfilling and committed relationship.
Well, let's put it this way, okay? What's the new adulthood? Like 30 now.
The adult what?
The adulthood. In other words, being an adult is like 30 now. Remember? I remember a psychologist says that at the age of 25, it's emerging adult.
An emerging adult. Yeah, wasn't it you 21, you were an adult?
Yes. You were 21, you were an adult. You could vote and buy liquor and buy cigarettes.
Absolutely. You're an adult and you know everything.
Yeah. No, at 16, you know everything.
Oh, you're right. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Oh,
did I ever tell you the story about my Jonathan?
What?
He came up to me one time. He was like 15, I think he says, 15. And Jonathan was a handful.
He is a handful.
Yeah. He told me he wanted me to treat him like an adult. And I said,
and I'm chuckling because knowing you, I can't wait to hear what you told him.
I told him, you know what? I would love to. But the state of California makes it illegal. This is what he mean. He says the state of California states until you're 18, you're my responsibility. I said, first of all, can you vote? No. He says, can you drive a car without me? No. I said, can you buy liquor without, no. Yeah. I said, see, it's not my fault. It's the state of California. I don't make the rules here.
And how did that go over?
He
puffed and walked away.
Yeah, he walked away in a huff. There's nothing I could do. And then I knew the minute he hit 18, I knew he was coming back.
And did he?
At 18 years old. And sure enough, just like clockwork, right after his birthday, not much longer, comes up and he says, I'm 18 now, you need to treat me like an adult. And I told him, son, I said, I know guys who are 40 that are not adults. Walked off in a huff again.
Yeah. What about Gen Z and so on, preferring privacy to sharing?
Yeah, but we prefer privacy.
Yeah, we tended to keep private.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah,
that's what we did.
Yeah. We see
it's
everything.
Our business.
Yeah, it's kind of like they like to share everything, like what they're eating, where the restaurants are eating at, and all that stuff. You know what upsets me more than anything else?
What's that,
Professor? Let me tell you what upsets me. One day, I think it was on LinkedIn. It was a rainy day, and I went cooking. Made some nice stuff. I cooked with my grandson. We did a real nice, and I posted that on LinkedIn.
Oh, okay.
Really, I just said, when it comes to a rainy day, the best place is in the kitchen. I got more hits on that one than I do on my podcast. Everybody's thumbs up. Yeah, Oh, I like chili.
Okay. I thought LinkedIn was for jobs.
It is, but all kinds of stuff comes up on that.
I know.
You will not believe what's that.
I know. I know. I see. I watch. I'm on it.
Yeah. So I said, hey, growing up boomer. When it's rainy outside, the kitchen's the best place to be. And I posted. I can't remember. It's on there, something like that. But I had made it was a pasta. It was a spicy pasta with prima rossa sauce, gorgonzola cheese up on top. It was delicious.
Oh, wow.
It was delicious.
That sounds wonderful.
Yeah, I got more hits than growing up boomer.
Right. Wow, it was crazy. So yeah, but anyway.
But you're right. You're right about that.
We were definitely wanted to be private. The younger generations, of course, there's apps, the Instagram and TikTok, and everything gets out there.
Yeah,
and that is really hard for me as a boomer to have all that stuff out there. I mean, I do get on Facebook, but I don't do much sharing on Facebook. I watch. I mean, I'll comment here and there on something, but I'm not sharing a lot of personal stuff.
Right.
Generally speaking, that's the case. But the interesting thing, a lot of young people have managed to cultivate jobs out of being influencers.
Yeah.
And opening up their lives to the internet. Of course, without the internet, the socialization would be different.
You're absolutely right.
I mean, we didn't have the internet when we grew up.
Yeah.
Okay. So, our socialization was either getting on the phone, okay, or going next door. Right. Or going out to the ball field or going to movies
You're right.
and stuff like that.
You're absolutely
now they can
right.
socialize, in their room with a
Mhm.
headset on and never see the sun.
What I
So,
say, live in virtual reality, not reality itself.
yeah, and virtual reality. Yeah. And believe me, I got kids in my personal life here, not sharing, right? Personal life, okay, that do exactly that.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I see it. I'm exposed to it all the
yeah.
time.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh, yeah. How about what we always like to buy new instead of used?
Well, I did. I mean,
Yeah.
I thought new was good because it's they're usually typically they had warranties depending on what it is you're doing, and
Absolutely.
they last longer. You figure they're going to last longer.
Hmm.
So I mean, I'd spend the money now; it'll last longer than getting
Correct.
something used. And of course, depending what it is,
Hmm.
who
Hmm.
wants something used by somebody else?
Hmm.
Depending on what it is you're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
The only thing I ever buy used is usually old records.
old records.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. You see
yeah.
my wall. I got all the old Beatles
I
albums and
know.
stuff
Yep,
like
yep.
that.
Yeah, I
That's the
know.
only thing I ever really buy old because I like to get them the year that they were pressed, the
Yeah,
first year they were
but when
pressed.
we grew up, I mean, of course, when we grew up, um, they're antique shops, and
Yes.
that's if you wanted something used, you would go there, but
Yes.
you were
Yes.
looking typically for something specific. Okay,
Correct.
you're not just doing, just general shopping.
Hmm.
But now, I mean, again, back to the internet with
Hmm.
Craigslist
Oh,
and
yeah. Yeah.
all that kind, even and Facebook
Hmm. Hmm.
Marketplace. I mean, heck, you could just get anything you want, pretty
Yeah.
much.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Now I got a little secret.
Okay.
I just bought something used from Facebook Marketplace. Don't tell the Gen Zers that I did that.
May I ask what it is, or is that going to stay?
It's a really nice, handmade, locally oak 4-drawer file cabinet.
Oh, wow.
It's really well made, and I
Hmm.
got it for $40.
Oh, wow.
And it's in good condition. And the slides, the drawer slides, they just shh.
Wow.
They're really, really cool. So
Hmm.
anyway, but
Hmm.
don't tell anybody.
All right.
Okay, I want to be private about that. Okay.
All right.
Oh, hey, what about respecting authority without question?
Well, you know what? That certainly was not the baby boomers.
Yeah, it wasn't us. Yeah,
Well, you know what? We're the older baby boomers.
right.
From they call from 55 to 64. They call them the Jones baby boomers.
Yeah, keep up with the Joneses.
Correct. We are what they
Right.
call the radical
Yeah,
baby boomers, and I think
yeah,
we were made that way because of the Vietnam War.
yeah, yeah. Well, there's something to it though, because if you think about it, I mean, I remember the '60s, and I remember all the demonstrations and all the stuff that was going on.
Mm-hmm.
And on the one hand, I remember it's almost like when I was younger. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about the '50s, really, and maybe into the early '60s. Um, yeah, kind of respecting authority.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I mean, you respect the cops, you respect even politicians. Okay, you respect a lot of things that were going on.
Mm-hmm.
But again, growing up in the '60s, okay, certainly in the mid to later '60s, with the war going on and civil rights issues and everything else,
Right.
we started to question authority.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so that I remember both sides of that,
Yeah.
to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
And of
Yeah.
course, now it seems like the younger generations, they're instead of being naive about people in power, they have no problem challenging their views and
Mm-hmm.
opinions, and it's also easy because you could do it social. You could do it on the media.
Right.
Okay, you don't have to face anybody. You
Correct.
can say what you want. Okay, and it's out there, and you might hit diss somebody or whatever, or a politician, somebody in another country
Mhm.
or in another town.
Yeah.
Okay, nearby, and you got nothing to worry about.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's a little different.
Other than if you decide to run for office, somehow that
Yeah.
always resurfaces.
Oh, God, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. But again, I don't know if it really has anything to do with about that they don't respect authority figures, but it's more like that respect has got to be earned
Yeah.
and not just given.
Yeah.
And so initially, when I early grew up, it was just like a natural thing. Like, okay, think about this now. Okay, I'm getting a little off, but The way kids treat teachers these days is abominable. It's abominable. And there's that respect thing right there.
Right.
When I grew up, teachers, you respected your teacher.
Well, yeah, because
that was just it.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, of course, depending on the school, you get your knuckles wrapped.
Yeah.
But that wasn't in my case. But you respected your teachers. Okay. And now, okay, I mean, I hear stories and stuff like that of what goes on in classrooms, and it's abominable. It really is.
Well, I'm going to tell you this. When you came home and there was a problem with the teacher and you told your parents, what did they say?
You're deep shit.
What did you do? Yeah, right?
Pardon me.
What did you do? It wasn't never, the teacher, she's just so unfair. It was always, what did you do?
Yep, that's right. That's right. Yeah, that's right. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, man. What I'm trying to think of some of the other things. Well, shoot. Okay, we kind of already related to it. Using television as a main source of news.
Absolutely.
Of course, when we grew up, that's all we had. That and radio.
Right. Well, and newspaper.
Well, see, I haven't had a newspaper in my hand in years. It feels like, and I'm really tactile, and I way prefer to have things in my hand. But I mean, the way you get your news these days, and they get the news it's internet. Okay, they get it from the internet. Okay. More than anything else, and not only that, they go to their specific places where they want to go. There's podcasts to get their news, the influencers. Okay, I mean, we grew up with newspaper, radio, and TV,
right?
And that's all that we had,
right?
And we did not have a 24-hour news cycle.
That is true.
And boy, did that make a difference.
Yeah. The other thing is, for us, we got Time Magazine and Newsweek every month.
Yeah, and Life Magazine.
Yeah, no, we just got those two.
Yeah, I got Life Magazine.
Yeah. No, we just got basically Time and Newsweek.
Yeah.
And Kathy would read them cover to cover.
Yeah, I remember reading the newspapers.
Oh,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
of course, I went straight to the comics, but don't tell anybody.
But that's
which, by the way, that might be a good thing to talk about.
Yeah.
Comics of the 60s.
Oh, there's some that we probably can't talk about. You know what we'll do too later? We got to do some of the cartoons of the 60s.
No, that's okay. Cartoons, okay.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah. I lived off. Professor, let me tell you this right now. I was probably watching cartoons a lot later in life than I should have been. Okay?
Okay.
All right. I should not have been watching cartoons, but I loved them.
Okay. Well, I loved cartoons too. They were good. They were fun. Yeah. And the cartoons we grew up in are different.
Oh, golly. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Hey, how about we do one more and that's it?
Okay, cool.
Okay. How about paying with cash?
What's cash?
Don't you carry cash?
All the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
Absolutely.
I carry cash. I never want to be without cash.
Yeah. Okay,
because I still think cash is king. Of course, now I'm going to have to get into this cryptocurrency stuff. And I don't know how you carry that around in your pocket.
Well, wait a minute.
It bothers me.
Everybody just carrying cards around.
Oh, I know. It's crazy.
I don't know if you watch, you watch a lot of TV. Sylvester Stallone has something called Tulsa King.
Oh, that was a great show.
Yeah. Did you see when he wanted to mail the money back to New York?
Yeah.
How much is that? The guy gives him a price, and he pulls out the cash, and he goes, "I'm sorry, we don't take cash here."
Yeah.
And he's going like,
I know.
"Wait, what? Where I come from, cash is king. Sorry, we just don't take cash here."
I'm looking forward to a second season of that.
Oh, they had the second season. That's third season.
I meant third season.
Yeah, third season.
Yeah,
that one looks pretty interesting. I'm saying that, okay, what they're going to do, I will guarantee you this, okay? Tulsa King is not going to make law enforcement look good.
Oh, no.
No.
Oh, no.
Here he's legitimized all of these businesses, right?
Right.
And now they want him to go back to New York to take Chicky's place, Chicky's place and be an informant for them.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And they're going to say, if you don't do this, we're coming for the people that you all set up in business, and we're going to ruin their lives.
Yeah.
I could see that coming a mile away.
It should be a very good season.
Yeah, you're right. I'm waiting for that. But you know what?
Anyway.
And I think the cash thing has to do with what you've been talking about, the pandemic.
Okay, tell me why.
Because of health issues.
Oh, okay, and touching money?
Yeah, touching money. If you remember, during the pandemic, Starbucks did not take cash.
That's right, they just took cards.
They only took cards. And you couldn't stick them in. They had their little gun, and you had to tap it.
Yeah. Yep.
You know,
Yep.
so I think
Yep,
that has a lot to do
that.
with it, the pandemic, because of health issues.
Yeah.
Because
but I mean, the reality is though, it's. I mean, I like cash to say the least, but from a convenience perspective, okay, you can use your card virtually anywhere.
Oh, anywhere.
Okay, and if you want, and it's easier to keep track of your expenditures if you on a card because you can get a statement. Okay,
Right.
and you can see where everything is. So there are some benefits in it too. But
the benefit about cash is you can see it disappearing from your wallet, and you don't want to spend it.
And it might prevent you from spending it.
Exactly. Yeah. When the card, it's just on the card.
I know. That's crazy. So
I know.
Yep. And you know what? In another, it'd be interesting to see, okay, the alphas, what they're going to grow up doing and what their lives are going to be like. And then the betas. Okay. Yeah. And then I don't know what they're going to come up with that. The Charlies. Okay. Or the Deltas.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
We got the alpha betas.
Yeah.
The alphas and the betas.
Okay. My thing right now is how many new generations am I going to see?
Mm-hmm. Well, you said you wanted to hit triple digits.
I know. So that means I can get maybe 2 more.
Yeah. Well, think about this.
Well,
I don't think that should be your question.
Hmm?
Your question should be, how many more generations am I going to see that I will comprehend? Okay?
You got a point to that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I may be alive, but you know what? Yeah.
So,
where's my rice pudding?
Speaking, you said rice pudding?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Jackie makes a killer rice pudding.
Oh, Kathy, my mom made a killer rice pudding. Little cinnamon, just a little sugar.
Oh, a little cinnamon. Yeah, absolutely.
But Kathy cannot stand it. So we does not. The other one is yogurt. Oh, I'm telling you right now, Professor, if yogurt passes these lips, there is no kissy face.
Oh.
Okay?
Well,
no.
Padre, I get it. Padre, I get that.
There is no kissy face.
Then we won't kiss each other because I eat yogurt. So there.
I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about Kathy.
I know. I get that. I understand. I'll say I'm joking. Geez, you took that seriously. My goodness.
I'm offended.
Yeah, that's like, and some people like that with mayonnaise. Oh,
yeah.
See, mayonnaise is okay. Do you like mayonnaise?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
okay. So there you go.
Let's put it this way. You need to ask me what I don't like.
You don't like yogurt.
Oh, I love yogurt.
You do?
Oh God, yes.
Okay. Oh, then I misunderstood.
No.
Okay.
It's Kathy that doesn't like yogurt.
Okay, I misunderstood. I thought you didn't like
Oh, no.
Okay, got it.
No.
Well, guess what? Jackie doesn't like yogurt either. She says, why would I want to eat sour milk?
Yeah. Well, let's put it this way. When it goes bad, how do you know? Right?
Yeah. Anyway, I like yogurt, so cool.
Okay. Well, Professor, what do you say we end this one, buddy?
I think we kind of came to the end of this one.
A long time ago, huh?
Yogurt and kissy face. Yeah, we're done.
Okay, my man. You have a great one, okay?
Talk to you next time.
All right. Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye.
We'd like to thank you for listening and remind you, if you happen to have any baby boomer topics you'd like us to cover, just email us at growingupboomer@gmail.com. And until next time, may God bless.